Oh, good evening. My name is Laurence Winmill, and I'm on Walter Road in Swansea this afternoon at Dawson's Estate Agents, and I'm in the lettings department, and I'm joined here this evening by the Director of Lettings here at Dawson's, Mr. Ricky Purdy. Good evening, Ricky.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, I'm looking around here, Ricky, and obviously this is a public information evening this evening.
Yeah.
And you're targeting landlords. And the information that you're providing tonight is all about the new legislation that has been passed very recently by the Welsh Government.
Yes.
And it's all to do with a change in compliance, which, and I understand, is a deadline in November this year. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going to go on here this evening, what type of guests you're expecting, and what you're going to be discussing?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, we're looking to put on a sort of a free information evening, really, an informative sort of guide for our sort of landlords, our current customers, our potentially future clients, and landlords that look after properties themselves. Effectively, landlords that are self-managing as of November the 23rd, which is the deadline you referred to earlier, will need to be registered and they'll need to be licensed.
Okay.
So that's a big change, probably the biggest change that we've had in many a year, and it's something that we feel the need to promote and inform our customers on.
Okay.
Registering is an online sort of process. There's a cost involved to it. Effectively, it's putting the landlords on the radar. It's putting their details out there. It's also registering the properties that they have out to tenant. So it's a fairly simple process with the bare essentials of what they need to do.
Okay.
The licensing aspect is the more complicated and the more sort of involved process.
Right.
That requires course training, a small test. People will have to pass a fit and proper person test, and they'll have to continually develop their sort of personal sort of industry knowledge on a yearly basis. It's the Housing Wales Act 2014 which has brought this sort of change about. They just want to get the property standards and the industry standards in Wales to as high a level as possible. Having landlords and properties and tenants having to comply with certain needs will achieve that. Of course, I think it's going to attract a better quality landlords,
yes.
A better quality property when they adhere to the things they need to adhere to, as you've said, Laurence, and therefore they will attract hopefully a sort of a higher standard or the higher standard of tenants. So that sort of, that circle then reciprocates and moves forward with hopefully longer tenancies and more content tenants. So we're very, very active, as you can see tonight. Our goal will be to be licensed by the end of April. That's in conjunction with all 45 staff members being trained, which is the case already. So if we're not the very first, we're going to be in and amongst the first to be licensed. So yes, very conscientious, doing it ahead of the game so that our landlords that we manage for can have rest assured sort of tenancies moving forward. So all the staff here tonight, we've got branch managers, we've got some senior negotiators, all passed and fully up to speed with what needs to happen. As an agent, the agent would get the licence, meaning the landlord wouldn't have to. So effectively, you've got two options as a landlord that looks after your property yourselves.
Yes.
You either carry on that process, being registered, going through the processes of becoming licensed, and then adhering to those requirements for a 5-year period, or you utilise an agent like ourselves that are licensed on your behalf, takes the whole exercise away from you, meaning all you need to do is register. It's a simple, it's an easy process, and is something that lots of landlords will probably feel now is the right time to do that. We just want to make this sort of, a more aware process than it is at the moment. Don't leave it to the last moment. Registration is an online process and can be done at leisure and relatively simply, but the licensing aspect in terms of your day training, there will be a surge come the summer months, which means that if a landlord has that last minute decision, he probably won't be able to get on a course to become licensed in time for the 23rd. Yes, Rent Smart Wales, they've allocated Cardiff Council to be the sort of the authority for the 22 councils throughout Wales. So yes, they're going to be leading the way on behalf of all boroughs, yeah.
The message from Ricky, Director of Residential Lettings here at Dawson's in Swansea, is simple and clear. If you're a landlord, then you have to comply with the legislation and you have to register. And if you want to go through that process, there's probably no better person to come and speak to than either Ricky himself or indeed his team of advisors here at Dawson's within the lettings department. So if you're a landlord out there, you have a property, you're worried about the legislation, you're worried about the deadline, don't delay, just pick up the phone or email today and get in touch with the Dawson's team here at Walter Road in Swansea. And the contact details for that is, Ricky?
We've got the 301 000, that's the Swansea number, or we've got our email address, which is rsw@dawsonsproperty.co.uk.
Okay, from me and from Ricky, thank you very much.